The Love Bug is actually one of the first movies I remember seeing where, like, I knew about the movie and was kind of dying to see the movie. And I couldn't live until I saw the movie.
Yeah.
So, like, every time we drove around and we passed by a theater that I had, because I could recognize the Herbie poster, I actually fooled my parents into thinking that I could read. Because they thought I was reading the marquee and I was just recognizing the post. Hey, the Love Bug's playing there. Oh my God, Quentin can read. I had the record album. I think I had a little Herbie, a Big Little Book. I had the Viewmaster. Well, talk about prehistoric video. Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. To us little kids, like, having a Viewmaster was like owning the movie.
Yeah.
that was like owning the movie. I had as much fun watching that movie today as I've had watching a movie maybe since fucking Dressed to Kill. All right.
Yeah,
I mean,
sure.
I think this movie is perfect. I think it's actually a perfect movie. I don't think there's anything wrong with it. It was so much. I mean, this is a genuine classic. It works in every way as a classic comedy.
Sure.
I mean, it's not as witty vocabulary wise.
Although David Tomlinson has some great lines, though.
Oh no, it has wonderful lines. It's not as witty dialogue wise as What's Up, Doc, but it's every bit as good a movie as What's Up, Doc. Disney is really the only game in town when it comes to delivering this type of old-fashioned 50s classic comedy. All right.
Yeah.
But actually in a new wine bottle that actually embraces the counterculture and not in a corny way.
No, in a very...
a rather profound way.
Yeah, in a profound way.
I actually think this is one of the best race car movies I've ever seen in my life. I mean, the racing scenes are magnificent. And maybe the best use I've ever seen of late 60s process photography mixed with race car footage, where it actually blends really good. No, I see the seams, but it doesn't matter. In fact, one of the process POV shots made us jump. Yeah, it was one of my first movie experiences that I remember from beginning to end. Because I've just been watching so much stuff with my son. So I've been having this experience of watching stuff through a 4-year-old's eyes. And I wasn't much older than that. All right. Maybe I was probably 6 or 7 when I saw The Love Bug. And so Quentin, right now, today, loved this movie. It was a real movie and it was charming and wonderful and funny. And we were laughing all the way through it and exciting and everything.
And gripping and emotionally gripping as well.
And emotionally gripping and beautifully filmed. I mean, sometimes incredibly beautifully filmed.
Well,
but right alongside that, I could not help but look at the movie from Leo's perspective.
Where you going on your honeymoon?
We don't know. Herb hasn't told us yet. Let's go, Herb.
And consequently, my perspective, when I saw it, I'm like, this must have just blew my little mind. I mean, just even the little animation thing at the end of the little drawing of Herbie driving away, and having all the credits look like VW Bug. This might have been an important plank, an important board in the shelf that made me love movies for the rest of my life. But basically, Herbie's like a dog. Herbie has the loyalty and humanity and also hurt feelings that a dog.
Stop clowning around, will you? Play it straight. Don't give him any trouble. You could have a good home here.
But he attaches himself to Dean Jones the way a dog can just see somebody on the street and kind of attach themselves to a person.
Well, isn't that the scrappy little car we had in the shop?
I'm a big fan of David Tomlinson, and this makes me think that I need to be even a bigger fan. He's a very, very, very believable villain for the first 3/4 of the movie. You're surprised at his nastiness.
Yeah.
But, he's not a pussy. He's a race car driver, as prissy as he is, he's actually, he's very challenging. In the last 45 minutes of the movie, he's kind of turned into a Professor Fate kind of character.
Yeah.
All right.
That's true.
In The Great Race.
Especially with that guy in the seat next to him.
Exactly, with Joe
push
Flynn.
the button, Max.
Yeah, exactly. Where one ridiculous dignity-robbing thing after another happens to him, and he becomes a bit more of a cackling melodrama villain.
Yeah, Snidely Whiplash almost.
It doesn't make you actually disrespect his character. I have a respect for, I don't like his character, but there is a respect.
I'll bomb the thing off the road once and for all.
That is never degraded, even when he does scenes with bears.
Well, yeah, you're right.
The fact that he could actually hit some of those weird comic high point reactions and still not throw the character out.
Boy, was Herbie ever great today.
Hey, I was out there too. Wouldn't you say there was a fair piece of driving?
Hey, I'm not trying to take anything away from you, but you gotta admit that this little guy backed you all the way.
Yeah. It's a nice little car.
Dean Jones thinks that the reason his VW Bug is breaking speed records is because of him.
Yeah. And then it's one of the few cars that comes out of the factory every now and then that is special. The way Buddy Hackett understands the spiritual side of this car is even more than that.
And even Michelle Lee, who doesn't buy it 100%, knows something's afoot and is open to...
This car is conscious in some way. This car has and Buddy Hackett says this car has heart.
I hate to give Buddy Hackett this much credit, but he really does a really good, one, he's wonderful for kids.
It's a tough balance to walk what he's doing.
But when he describes to Michelle Lee that Herbie actually is living in so many words, she listens to it. And then when the whole thing is finished, he goes, "You don't really believe me, do you?" And she says something to the effect, to the words to the effect of, "Look, I believe you believe it, but I'm not convinced, but I'm open to the idea." And then he says, "That's okay.
Yeah.
It's a really big idea.
Yeah.
You just need to take it a little bite at a time. It's not, it's a big idea. You just have to you're not rejecting it." And then when she gets mad at Dean Jones, they go, "I thought he was full of hooey, but no, he is right. And this is I actually, now that the film is over and I've had the whole experience, I actually kind of love Dean Jones' selfishness at the beginning. I mean, real character.
It's a true arc.
That's a real adult character.
He overcomes his ego.
He overcomes his own ego.
I think Mr. Thorndike is a little mixed up as to who or what won that race.
And what does that mean?
Someday I'll teach you not to confuse the car with the driver.
At some point, Dean Jones just rejects Herbie in a big way, and Herbie goes out into the San Francisco night to kill itself.
Yeah, to the Golden Gate Bridge, to jump off the Golden Gate Bridge.
Go to the Golden Gate Bridge and jump off of it. And it's now up to Dean Jones to find Herbie, and he goes to Buddy Hackett, like, "Aren't you going to go with it?" "No, this is between you two."
Because Buddy Hackett at this point is pissed at him.
Yeah,
he's
you ruined this, and if it's either going to work out, it's between you two now. You gotta do it. You gotta handle it or not handle it. It's such a funny image. It's such a comical and so well executed image of the VW Bug Herbie balancing, trying to throw itself off the Golden Gate Bridge.
Yeah, it's teetering over it somehow climbed the ledge.
And Dean Jones trying to stop it.
Pulling on the bumper.
But it's also incredibly emotional. It's my favorite scene in the movie.
Yeah, it's gripping.
It's definitely the most emotional scene in the movie.
It makes you choke up.
Yeah. Dean Jones needs to almost die trying to save Herbie to redeem himself in both our eyes and in Herbie's eyes.
I can't hang on much longer.
And it's so easy to get lost in the magical aspect of the movie and the sentimental aspect of the movie and the child's point of view aspect of the movie. And I mean, and the whole magical stuff, it's like they're pulling off with their left hand. It's like they're not even trying. Yeah. It's so expertly executed that there's not any.
They're still making a fantastic screwball race movie. It's a racing movie first and foremost.
Thank you. That's my point.